You're listening to Rebel Spirituality with me, Sam Goldfinch. Here's the truth. Wisdom doesn't follow rules. So each week we're going to explore what it means to wake up your way so you can live a more peaceful, creative and inspired life no matter your circumstances. It's time to blaze your unique path to truth. I'm really excited about today's podcast. We're exploring what being extraordinary means, right? Now, it's really interesting. If you think about it, the word extraordinary is made up of the prefix extra and the adjective ordinary. Extraordinary. And when you're extraordinary, you're extraordinary. Now, I want to break this apart because we're kind of going to go in a different direction to what you might have been expecting. But just sit for a minute and think about when we live our life with the pressure of trying to be somebody. Maybe it's the pressure of trying to be somebody who's spiritual, or the pressure of someone who's calm all the time, or zen all the time, or whatever it might be, however it's playing out. Or the pressure of thinking that you need to show up in a certain way, right? To be who you think you need to be. There's so much pressure in that. And what we're going to be exploring today is how amazing would it be to just show up as you, to just show up as who you really are, right? Now, Sid Banks, he used to say, just be yourself. Just be yourself. He used to say it all the time. And he spoke about being ordinary. But for so many of us, when we hear this word ordinary, we think, oh, well, that just means a bit shit, right? That sounds like mediocre. I don't want to be ordinary. Like ordinary sounds less than. It sounds grey. It sounds, as I say, it just sounds a bit shit. But what if that's not true? All right? The Latin ordinarius, it's interesting. So the root of the word ordinary actually comes from the order of things, in the order of things, right? And so think about all of the things that we are surrounded by that are in the order of things. Trees. You know, I often say on my calls, they're common as muck. We were exploring what it means to just show up and be ordinary in the mystery school the last few weeks. And trees, they're common as muck. They're everywhere, completely ordinary. Babies, right? Completely ordinary, but all miracles in their own way. Feelings. Isn't it? Just stop for a second and reflect on how incredible it is that you can feel, right? And I know sometimes you think, well, golly, not all of my feelings aren't incredible, but actually they all are. It's an amazing guidance system to guide us through life. Like what a miracle, and so ordinary that everybody has them. Everybody has them. Books, they're so ordinary. Many of us will have hundreds of them in our houses. But to reflect on what they actually are, a way of communicating, right? Something that we have created, literally layered together, that hold worlds of people's imagination and insight within them. Isn't that just amazing? Isn't that incredible? They're completely ordinary. They're extra ordinary. They're more ordinary, which just makes them extraordinary. And if I think back on my life and I think about the pressure that I used to put on myself of trying to show up as a spiritual guy, a pattern that used to play out for me a lot in my life was wanting to be the expert in the room. And I shared a story the other day in one of my coaching groups where I was talking about how when I used to raise a hand when I was in school and at university and that kind of thing, very often my heart would start thumping and I would start to have clammy hands. And my story at the time was, well, it's anxiety and you know this is a part of it and all that kind of stuff. But I've come to see that actually a huge amount of that was the pressure of wanting to be right, of wanting to be seen, of wanting to be validated. It was so innocent. I have no judgment on myself or anyone if any of these patterns are playing out. But it can be really powerful to catch sight of them because they drag us around, and all that pressure that we carry that looks like it's coming from the outside world, it isn't. It's coming from within us. And so the permission to just be you is the most incredible thing in the world, because you are fucking amazing, right? In the same way that trees are. I don't need to bling up a tree. Like, trees are cool. Like, I don't have to add glitter and make it a spiritual tree and make it a tree that, you know, is better than the other. Like, trees are just cool, right? Trees are just amazing. They're part of the order of things. They're part of life. As are babies, as are feelings, as are books, as are you. And as you show up just as you, without any of the ideas of how you need to show up, any of the things you think you need to do, any way that you think you may need to present yourself or not present yourself, well, you're left with wisdom, right? You're left with the wisdom and intelligence behind life moving through you now. You're not filtering your experience through the past. You're not filtering it through... I got myself in so much trouble in my life because I wanted to be seen in a certain way. I've said yes to so many things that I've known I wanted to say no to because I was just innocently insecure around how other people might see me if I were to say that thing. And so I lost myself, right? Because I was defining myself by how I wanted other people to see me. And I wouldn't have said that I was trying and be special or anything like that. I'm not saying that we walk around and we're like, I want everybody to look at me. And that's not what I'm saying. It's often much more subtle than that. But you're incredible just as you are. Just aware, just you, is the most incredible thing in the world. So yeah, this week, how do you, relate? How do you relate to being ordinary? What has it meant to you? And what if it means something completely different? What would it be like to take all of those pressures off and just show up as you? All right, team. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you soon.